Hello and welcome to another episode of The Morning Brew, live on NTN, bringing you the latest developments from the government of St. Lucia. My name is Jessie Leonce, and today is Thursday, the 20th of August. We're pretty much barreling down to the weekend. We hope it has been a fruitful week for all of you, and we hope that you've been taking care of yourself COVID-19 wise, hurricane rainy season wise, putting measures in place to protect yourself and your family from the dengue virus, the dengue illness. At this point in time, I just want to go over the lead stories for the morning. We do have PAHO urging the region to respond rapidly to mental health effects of COVID-19. We also have St. Lucia's Health Minister lauding the diplomatic corps contribution to the national COVID-19 fight and the annual Groseley Top Achievers Stellar Night. We have the details to that story. Not forgetting, we are in wake of an update to the nation, and that was last night at 8 p.m. We did see the Honorable Mary Isaac, Senate Minister for Health and Wellness, and also Honorable Dominic Fady, Minister for Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and the Creative Industries, Ms. Donalyn Vitte, Permanent Secretary in that ministry, also Dr. Sharon Belmar George, Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Manager for the Urinori International Airport, Mr. Edgar Stephen, and CEO of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Mrs. Beverly Nicholson Doughty. And they sat down giving the nation an update on a number of things, including the number of returning nationals to date, including repatriations, also the figures at the airports so far since our reopening, also St. Lucia's tourism workers, St. Lucia's workers within the hotels who so far returned to work, and just an update generally from the Ministry of Health, SLASPA, and the Ministry of Tourism. We have the details to that. I'm just going to give you a summary of what transpired during yesterday's live program on NTN when we come back after this break.
Eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. One more time. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Wasn't that fun? Now, let's try it in French. Tête, épaule, genou, pieds. Oreille, bouche, nez, yeux. Tête, épaule, genou, pieds. Wow, you did well. Now let's sing it. Touch your head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Your eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Now in French. Tête, épaule, genou, pied, genou, pied. Tête, épaule, genou, pied, genou, pied. Et oreille, bouche, nez et yeux. Tête, épaule, genou, pied, genou, pied. Now that was a little slow, wasn't it? Let's see if we can go faster.
Lucia in the house. We love to learn, we love to play. Come join with us today.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Just a little snippet there from Lucian Kinderpals coming soon. We continue with this morning's brew from the NTN with a word from the PAHO director. St. Lucia, along with the countries of the Caribbean and Latin Americas, have been called upon to expand and invest in mental health services to cope with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The call has come from the director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne. Noting a mental health crisis in the region brought on by the effects of COVID-19, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, has been helping countries increase their capacity to provide mental health support at the community levels. In her latest update to the region during a weekly press briefing, PAHO Director Dr. Carissa Etienne asserts that the coronavirus has exacerbated what was already a silent epidemic in our part of the world.
In our region, depression and anxiety are two of the leading causes of disability. We are also home to the second highest levels of alcohol consumption in the world, and emergencies can worsen these conditions. Surveys from the 3 countries in our region that are most impacted by COVID-19, the United States of America, Brazil, and Mexico, show that about half of adults are stressed by the pandemic. And early data show that many are coping by using drugs and alcohol, which can create a vicious cycle that makes people more prone to and can exacerbate mental health issues. In spite of increased needs during these challenging times, mental health support may be increasingly out of reach due to strict lockdowns or as the already scarce mental health staff and budgets are reallocated to the COVID-19 response.
Dr. Etienne adds that this is especially concerning for patients who are affected by COVID-19, as they don't only experience physical symptoms, but many of them also experience insomnia, difficulty to sleep, delirium, and even depression. Doctors, nurses, and health workers, she says, who are risking their lives on the front line, working longer hours than ever before, are facing burnout, anxiety, and depression.
We need governments to prioritize mental health as part of the response to the pandemic. And at the same time, countries must make investments to scale up services, to hire and train additional staff. One of the most effective and efficient ways to do this is to integrate mental health and psychosocial support within primary healthcare systems, so they're easily accessible to those who need them most.
And that was a PAHO director, Dr. Etienne. She stresses on the need for the region to work assiduously to destigmatize mental health, as everyone who needs mental health support should feel comfortable asking for help and seeking professional support where needed. PAHO has been helping countries to strengthen policies and services and to expand online learning for health workers so they know how to identify and support survivors of violence during the pandemic. St. Lucia's 311 hotline offers psychosocial support to individuals during this pandemic here on island. And here at home, Minister for Health and Wellness, Senator the Honorable Mary Isaac, has lauded the Diplomatic Corps for its steadfast assistance to the government and people of St. Lucia in the COVID fight. The Senator Honorable Mary Isaac was part of the panel in the Update to the Nation last night, and she continues to speak on our progress so far and making commendations, especially now, to the Diplomatic Corps as we continue to tackle COVID-19.
I want to thank all our ambassadors who have put their best foot forward. They have provided us with quite a number of PPEs, quite a lot of masks, gloves, and so on. Especially the Taiwanese ambassador, the government and people of Taiwan, as well as the Cuban ambassador, the government and people of Cuba. We saw the number of nurses, 100 and something nurses and doctors that came to us from the very beginning of this, from the onset of the virus, and they have remained with us up till now. A few of them returned, but the majority of them are still here with us in St. Lucia, helping us to maintain our good record and to keep taking care of our people here in St. Lucia.
That was Senator the Honorable Mary Isaac singing the praises of the Diplomatic Corps in their assistance, steadfast assistance to the government and people of St. Lucia. The OECS Commission has donated some face shields to support the transition of schools to the new COVID-19 safety preparations for this upcoming academic year. We have the details to that story and more, including updates from last night's Update to the Nation coming from our lead executives, Honorable Dominic Fede, Honorable Mary Isaac, Ms. Donalyn Vitte, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, Mr. Edgar Stevens, manager for Urinor International Airport, and the CEO of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Mrs. Beverly Nicholson Doughty. That is coming up. I'm summarizing a last night's update after this break. Stay with us.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow. For a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies. When her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul. And her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is Saint Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You are watching The Morning Brew, bringing you the latest updates from the government of St. Lucia live on NTN today. The OECS Commission has made a donation of face shields to support the transition of schools to the new COVID-19 safety preparations for the 2020-2021 academic year. We have a report.
The donation forms part of the Commission's corporate social responsibility commitment to contribute to the societal goals of the OECS member states and support OECS communities in shaping their shared prosperity.
Overall, we want to thank the staff, not just at Dame Paulette, but of all the schools on island, for putting together the initiatives to get students back in school come September. And we hope that our gift of masks to the teachers will assist in preparing the Dame Paulette School to be ready come September and to be focused on teaching our youth rather than worrying about their health as much.
Principal of the Dame Paulette Louise Primary School, Mrs. Ethelyn Leos, thanked the OECS Commission for the donation.
The face shields will definitely augur well for us as a school and as a teaching staff. The teachers will have an additional layer of protection as they go about continuing the journey that we have set up from the beginning in 2003 of making sure our students achieve the best, focusing on education and not on all the other things that can be distractions. Mr. Louiseau, the face shields do more than just protect us. It also gives us this kind of a surety and assurance that everything is fine, not just with Dame Paulette, but with education in St. Lucia.
Principal of the Carmen Rennie Memorial School, Sienna Nolly George, says the gesture from the OECS Commission reinforces the school's safety protocols for the new academic year.
Life as we know it will never be the same. The COVID-19 pandemic prevention through its social distancing and health and safety protocols has introduced the new normal into our education system. As an educational institution, we have a collective responsibility to ensure that the school environment is safe and that mandated protocols for the education system are in place to receive our staff and students when they return next month. The use of face covering, such as a face shield, is an important element in ensuring the safety of staff, students, and other key stakeholders on the ground.
And we trust that this donation will make the transition a little better for all. The relationship between the OECS Commission and the Carmen Rennie Memorial School is slowly growing. And with this small donation and future opportunities, we aim for a long, fruitful relationship.
The OECS Commission presented 42 face shields to the principal and staff of the Camille Henry Memorial School. The cooperation initiative between the Camille Henry Memorial School and the OECS Commission facilitated staff of the OECS in resolving the abrupt interruption to classroom learning.
We are here again to express our appreciation to you, principal and staff, for your kind generosity and that of the teachers who assisted in the process in allowing 9 children of staff of the OECS Commission to be registered on the online learning platform of the Camille Henry Memorial School during May to June 2020. The students were registered across grades 1 to grade 6, and the feedback from the parents we received were very positive. I must mention that we had 2 students from the Commonwealth of Dominica who also participated and benefited from this cooperative initiative with your school. We felt it prudent, though, that given your quick response and your willingness to partner with the OECS Commission, that we contribute to the inventory of your personal protective equipment that your school must now acquire to meet the new safety and health protocols.
Principal of the Camille Henry Memorial School, Beverly D. O'Donnell, thanked the OECS Commission for the presentation.
This contribution will greatly assist in offsetting the huge financial burden on the school in preparation for the reopening, while ensuring all safety protocols are in place. We would like to extend our deepest gratitude to the Commission, and we look forward to continuous collaboration between the OECS Commission and the Camille Henry Memorial School.
The OECS Commission has partnered with other schools in St. Lucia and the Commonwealth of Dominica through the annual social outreach and educational activities. From the Government Information Service, Lisa Joseph reporting.
Thank you, Lisa, for that news report. We are due for another break. When we come back, the key updates from the Update to the Nation aired last night live on NTN. Stay with us.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join
excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is The Morning Brew live on NTN. We hope you've been having a productive week so far, a good one so far. I hope you're keeping alert and vigilant, taking into consideration the protocols for the COVID-19. And speaking of which, we got an update from the Government of St. Lucia, Honorable Mary Isaac, Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Dominic Fede, Minister for Tourism, and also Ms. Donalyn Vitte, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, as well as Dr. Sharon Belmont George, CMO, and also officials from the Urinora International Airport and the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, just giving us an update as to where things are at since we've reopened our country, we've reopened our borders, and there's been a resumption of tourism activity in St. Lucia. Just to let you know, the number of returning nationals to date, including repatriations, that is approximately 1,900 at a state facility, 868 repatriated before the official opening of commercial flights, approximately 760 at home quarantine. The number of persons housed at a Government of St. Lucia operated quarantine currently, 1 is currently in isolation, and 182 are currently at the state facilities. An update on the travel bubble. As of August 19th, 2020, that was as of yesterday, that was Thursday, August 19, the following countries or territories form a part of the Caribbean bubble. That is Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, Barbados, Bonaire, the British Virgin Islands, Curacao, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Bartholomew, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Key points coming from health. Pre-testing within 7 days prior to arrival in St. Lucia and 14 days quarantine for travelers outside the bubble remains of priority. The Government of St. Lucia is sticking to its guns when it comes to this very stringent measure, very mandatory on the part of the government, because it has shown so far that these measures, the management of COVID-19 in this way, has helped us climb to the top in terms of the statistics, in terms of how COVID-19 is managed in the region. St. Lucia so far is coming to the top, frothing to the top when it comes to that. Vetting of all bubble countries will remain in effect. So there will continue to be constant revision of the bubble countries to ensure that these islands, these jurisdictions are operating within strict measures as well, and their cases of COVID-19 are still at a manageable rate. The respiratory hospital is nearing completion and will serve as support for the COVID-19 response. So the respiratory hospital, many of you would have known that the Victoria Hospital is currently undergoing some renovation works, and so that will soon be done and will be able to better help in the COVID-19 response. Locals are not permitted to reside at hotels where visitors from the international markets are allowed to stay. They must utilize properties certified for the travel bubble. This is in an effort to minimize risk of possible COVID-19 transmission to local communities. And one of the queries that I had heard out there during this whole resumption of tourism activity was, why isn't there staycation? So promoting the whole idea of going to a hotel to enjoy your vacation if you would like, before the kids go back to school. And, this reinforcement coming from health is an address to that. Locals are not permitted to reside at hotels where visitors from the international markets are allowed to stay. They must utilize properties certified for the travel bubble. This is an effort to minimize risk of possible COVID-19 transmission to local communities. So I guess if you want to still enjoy some time, some leisure time with your family, you must adhere to these protocols, utilizing properties only certified for the travel bubble. Mass crowd events remain at a 200 capacity. However, persons are encouraged to remain at a safe distance. Permissions must be obtained from the necessary authorities for the execution of any event. So these are the key updates coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And just to go back to tourism, the SLHTA had worked without pause throughout the pandemic to ensure that St. Lucia remains top of mind. And that is with respect to our marketing. How well is the world aware of St. Lucia, especially in this COVID-19 era, and getting used to the new normal. According to the CEO, several programmings were undertaken, and I'm speaking about the CEO of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Mrs. Beverly Nicholson Doughty. She did state that several programs were undertaken, and that includes a 7 Minutes in St. Lucia series, and that is a St. Lucia inspired blog series, and much more. With budget strapped at this time, media placements were of priority, and so far with the creativity of the team, they've been able to place over $5 billion worth of media through really good partnerships. So just leveraging the relationships that St. Lucia already has with organizations and what have you, we've been able to get a lot of promotion for the island. Airlines continue to eye St. Lucia, of course, with demand and supply. Good news for the tourism market, that celebrities are really celebrating with testimonials and referring to the protocols as well thought out, implemented, practice, and is safe. So many of you would have seen so far that we have had some celebrities coming to the shores of St. Lucia, even in this new COVID-19 scenario, and they have been able to promote St. Lucia as well. So far on island, we've had over 1,500 employees return to work. And that is an update coming from last night from the officials. 1,500 employees returning to work in the tourism sector. Dive has also opened as another offering in terms of our tourism offering from August 17th. So initially we only had day boat tours, and so now diving has been added to the options for tourists coming to St. Lucia wanting to experience the island. 9 of 13 COVID-19 certified properties have also opened for operations. So please take note of that. We are slowly but surely, steadily reopening every aspect of St. Lucia's tourism sector. Coming from SLASPA, so the St. Lucia Air and Seaports Authority, the new operations at the airport has resonated the message of there is no I in team, as all agencies collaborated with SLASPA to ensure seamless operations. From arrival to departure, there are health and safety protocols installed at the Urinary International Airport and St. Lucia to ensure a safe travel experience. The operations of a full-fledged medical station at the Urinary International Airport is an added layer of protection for the visitor and St. Lucian communities. And many of you coming back home, many of the visitors, tourists coming to St. Lucia would have experienced this full-fledged medical station, going through, getting your temperature checked, getting scanned, ensuring that as you're coming into our country, as you're coming and joining the population, that you are good to go as it pertains to COVID-19, and of course immediately isolating any suspected cases or confirmed cases of COVID-19 as well. So that was, in summary, the update that we received from the officials last night during the update to the nation. That was aired at 8 p.m. last night. We heard from Senator the Honorable Mary Isaac, Minister for Health and Wellness, Honorable Dominic Fede, Minister for Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and the Creative Industries, Ms. Donald Invite, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and Creative Industries, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, CMO, and Manager for the Urinary International Airport, Edgar Stephen, and CEO of the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Mrs. Beverly Nicholson Doughty. And that was just a summary. Moving on with this morning's news stories. A film series has begun airing this month to educate the public on climate change and biodiversity. The Department of Sustainable Development embarked on this production to convey how the National Environmental Information System can be harnessed for developing scenarios in St. Lucia's future and planning for such eventualities. We have a report coming from an interview that we conducted earlier this week on The Morning Brew. Take a listen. The series has been launched to highlight the value of St. Lucia's one-of-a-kind environmental information system. Referred to as the NEIS, this web-based platform provides reports on the state of the island's environment and updates on the implementation of multilateral environmental agreements that the country is signed on to. The film series, titled St. Lucia Into the Future, will be aired over 3 seasons, each themed climate change, land degradation, and biodiversity. The films demonstrate the use of the NEIS for translation of data into useful and actionable information and presents a baseline for environmental scenarios in St. Lucia, which can be revisited, revised, and used to inform strategic planning.
We just want to bring home the message of how climate change can impact a small island developing state like St. Lucia. And you know what's the public role in this right now? So this is why the film comes in. So we're targeting everyone at all levels for them to see the value of this national environmental information system, how it will allow us to envision these scenarios that we have generated and see what improvements we can make to make St. Lucia better in terms of environmental management.
That was Daniel Gordon, Project Manager at the Department of Sustainable Development. The film series is an undertaking of the department's Increase St. Lucia's Capacity to Monitor Multilateral Environmental Agreements, MEA, Implementation and Sustainable Development Project. The project's main deliverable is NEIS. Being the first of its kind in the region, makes St. Lucia a trailblazer for its online environmental information platform.
To access the reports on there, you can go to www.neis.govt.lc. So this is where the public can access the reports generated from the data. Now you can access both reports and the data, so you can create your own reports based on the data there. But that data comes from government and non-governmental organizations who have agreed through an MOU to contribute periodically to this National Environmental Information System. So you have agencies like Central Statistics Office, you have Department of Planning, Ministry of Health and Wellness. You also have St. Lucia National Trust.
Met Office?
Yes, Met Office there as well. So you have multiple agencies, all who have agreed through this MOU to commit to uploading data in a very regular manner.
Project Manager Daniel Gordon encourages the public to visit the NEIS site at neis.govt.lc and follow the film series airing weekly. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting. And that wraps up this morning's stories coming from the Morning Brew, live on NTN, bringing you the latest updates coming from the government of St. Lucia. My name is Jessie Leonce, and of course, I will see you tomorrow morning, top of the morning, as we wrap up this week and we're on into TGIF. Do enjoy the rest of today and do stay tuned for more programming from NTN. Signing off for now, Jessie Leonce. Bye-bye. Cheers.